Welcome to our first study of consciousness, and we're going to start with what consciousness is. And that's not an easy answer because if it was, we wouldn't be studying consciousness, we would just be talking about it. So there's a lot of different understandings, and there's probably as many misunderstandings of what consciousness is and how it's created, if it's created at all. So these are different aspects we're going to be digging into through the series of consciousness studies. So let's start with what consciousness is. Consciousness is something that we all have experience of. We say self-evident truth. We know what consciousness is simply by virtue of the fact that we are conscious. Our conscious living experience, our ability to perceive things around us through our senses, and that experience of sensual interaction with our environment. That experience itself is happening by virtue of consciousness, or we can say that experience is consciousness. So what is consciousness? There's different ways to approach this question. One is by reduction, so that we analyze something and we look at it and we say, well, this is not consciousness. So whatever's left could be consciousness, right? So by eliminating the possibilities of what consciousness is not, we're left with consciousness. So if we study the elements of this world, the elements that this world is made of. You have earth. So is earth conscious? Is dirt? If you take, a handful of sand, is that conscious? Let's say, is that consciousness? Is the sand, the earth, is that consciousness? Then we can look at water, pure water, reverse osmosis water that's been filtered out. Is that consciousness? Fire, right? If we light a fire on a Bunsen burner, the gas is burning. Is that consciousness? And then the air, we have the air around us. Is the air consciousness? And then we have space itself that's taking up and containing everything that we have experience of. So is that space itself consciousness? So like this, we can go through the different elements and try to understand what consciousness is by eliminating what it's probably not. Then above the elements, we have the mind. So is the mind consciousness? And then above the mind, we have the intelligence. Is the intelligence consciousness? And then we have our ego. We have our sense of self-identity. Is that consciousness? And what is beyond that, now we're getting into the realm of spirituality. And we talk about the soul. Is the soul consciousness? And then you have the cosmos, the supreme being, and like that. So where does consciousness begin? What is it? And how can that understanding benefit us in our daily lives. That's really, a final conclusion to these studies, is how do we take those insights that we hope to gain through the study of consciousness, and how do we apply that in our daily life in a practical way to benefit us and add value to our lives. And I think that's what we can say is the essence of this channel, the mission objective of this channel, is to bring consciousness studies home for you and me, for the individual, for the family, for the community, and for the world, for the different nations and for the world. How do we benefit from our understanding of consciousness? How do we leverage that and bring a better quality to our individual lives and to make the world a better place to live together? So that's what I want to share with you right now, and we're going to get into more specific details of what consciousness is and what it's not, and different perspectives on what it might be and how we can take advantage of all that information. So thank you for joining this channel, subscribing and liking this video, and we will see you in the next study.